Good evening, Dr. Debbie.
Good evening.
Is the music coming from your end?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Crypto Pulse Weekly. It's another beautiful Friday evening, depending on where you are in the world. And today we're going to be talking about WorldCoin and the Retina scanning saga. If you've not heard about it, there is a major news that came out. Yeah, I'll say this week. So the first thing was that WorldCoin was launched by the guys that built ChatGPT. And of course, it created a lot of buzz. Remember what I told you about crypto and AI as the theme for the coming bull run. And I think these guys have taken the first step, launching WorldCoin. Well, it didn't end there because on the back of that, they went for the jugular and said that to prove your humanity, so something like proof of humanity, you need to scan your retina. And as at the last time I checked, I think like 3 million people have already signed up. So I have, I have mixed feeling depending on, which side of me is looking at it. So when I look at it from, you know, scientific point of view, why would you want to scan your retina? From a security point of view, as as a person who is a proponent of, freedom of freedom of speech and fundamental human rights, I think I think things are starting to cross the line. And I will explain my thoughts, and you're free to take any part of my thesis and debate it. But when the saying goes that if a product is free, if something is free, you are the product. Uh, this is almost similar to exactly what Facebook did by offering us a free product to connect to our friends and lost colleagues or whoever, and in return sell our data to the marketing company. That industry is one of the biggest underground industry in the digital era right now. The digital marketing through targeted audiences. So it's um, it's so fine tuned now that even when you're having a discussion, Alexa, Siri, and all the possible devices are listening in, even though it's not in the terms and condition. They are listening in your conversation. So if you start talking about tractor, don't be surprised that tractor will start showing up in your browsing feeds. Or if start anything at all you're talking about, it will start showing up. And if you have devices that are, synced to Internet of Things, meaning devices that are connected over Wi-Fi and are connected to the internet, best be aware that those things can record information and they can feed information to the parent company. So I'm very concerned as a technologist, very, very concerned that people are scanning their retina. Your retina is your retina is one of your most unique identity. I mean, apart from your fingerprints, right? For fingerprints, for instance, if I peel all my fingerprints, I'll grow another one, but it will be a variant of the original print that there. So it will not be the same thing. So usually criminals do that. They deface their fingers just to ensure that the fingerprints change. So if people are now going on to submit their iris scan, which is what it is, so they scan your iris and it takes a scan of your retina, which is more unique than your fingerprint, medically speaking. So it can never be the same. And they're taking the two of them. So it does a comparative analysis of your right and left retina and create an identity for you in their database. What that means is that anybody that can get access to that, anybody that can get access to those records has essentially stolen your identity. So I'm extremely paranoid. Like, as a technology person, I'm extremely paranoid that, you know, an organization is asking for people's retina scan to give them crypto. I'm not saying that the crypto will not do well, that the coin itself will not do well. It will probably get a lot of pump. So I am waiting for when the token will be available across. I think it was already launched. Oh, give me a second, please. I think it was already launched um, on some exchanges, if I'm not mistaken. Just give me a second. I'll check now. Coin CoinGecko will usually have it if it gets launched. So the token itself, for the purpose of investment, and you know, this is no sentiment. It's just like, you know, if you want to buy stock, if you want to buy stock as a purely as an investor, and you're looking at the performance. I'm not in, you know, you're not a millennial. I mean, I would suppose that most people are listening are not millennials. Millennials are the ones that are doing activist investing. Most people are not like that. I mean, people like us, we are not activist investors. We're looking for the best performance assets to put our resources into. So if I'm an investor, I'm looking for the best performance. I'm looking at the balance sheet, cash flow. I'm looking at their P&L, and I'm looking, you know, how is this stock going to perform on the long term, or what are they doing that's going to set them apart in the future? Not necessarily because, you know, I like the product, or, you know, some people also do that. You know, if you're using the product, you might as well, you know, buy stocks there. But what I'm saying is, from a pure performance point of view, I think WorldCoin is going to do very well. It's not a financial advice, of course. It's 10, what's this? 10,000 million, 10 billion. Is this 10 billion? One, two. Yes, it's billion. 10 billion maximum supply. That is the maximum supply for WorldCoin. Its current circulating supply is queried at 111 no, 111 million, and the market cap is 243 million. I mean, it's done some crazy things in the last, let me look at 7 days chart. So it opened up at 260, dropped to 2, it's gone back to 240. It's available on, where's the markets? They don't have markets, yes. So I'm watching out for when it becomes available on the markets. For all it's worth, it's currently an Ethereum contract, so it's sitting on Ethereum network. But I'm watching out for it because it has the potential to do a lot of pump. And you ask me why? Very simple. You see this information that they're trying to get to give people tokens. There are a lot of parties all over the world that are looking for this information, interested in this information. So the more people scan their retinas to give them this information, the more market capitalization they are going to get on the long run, because it's equity. If you don't know, data is equity. In the age where we are now, data is equity. What do I mean? It has the same equivalent as assets and money. Any form of data. If you can slice it and dice it appropriately, you can make money from it. So data is equity, and what they're saying is, give us your data. It's probably one of your most prized data. Give us your data and we'll give you some coins. I don't know how many coins they're going to give people. And really, anybody in developing country will be very happy, because they'll be like, what's the worth of the retina in the first place? So they'll be very happy to give them their retina scans. But if you're in the Western world, I would say tread with caution. Tread with a lot of caution. A lot of caution, because things are pretty sophisticated in the Western world, and you don't want your personal identity to be sitting out there. And it was one of the main things I really want to talk to you about this today, because this is a major step into what's it called? What European Union would call what's the name of this? There's a standard. I can't remember the standard now, but there's a standard for data protection, EDP something. I'll remember. I'll remember in a while, in a bit. Oh, sorry, GDPR. Yeah, GDPR was what I was trying to get. So this is a major breach. If we are going to if we are to line this side by side with the GDPR principles, which is Global Data Protection Regulation, as as promulgated by the EU, major assaults, and there's already a lot of noise being generated here in the UK because of this. But what I'm saying is, if if you are in developing world where things are not sophisticated, yes, maybe, just maybe, you might be able to get away with it. But if you are in the Western world, you cannot get away from it, because what it means is that they can tie that retinal scan to your name, and they will collect other information as well as you sign up to the platform, whatever platform they have. If I hold on a second, let me look for their websites. So they can, if they get that information and for whatever reason that information gets breached, major problem, like major problem. So you don't want to put yourself in that scenario where you've given them your retinal scan, and you know it's now there on the World Wide Web. Yes, it's on their servers, but anybody can hack any server. Well, you didn't hear from my mouth, but that's the truth. A good cyber security guy or a good hacker can hack anything. It will just take time. But any defense can be penetrated. It just takes time. It's the amount of time that it takes before the detection occurs that makes databases and applications and websites more secure than the other. So for me, it's a no-no on retinal scan, complete no-no, because it's like selling. I don't want to say that, but it's like selling one's birthright. It's not in the same, it's not in the same. It doesn't carry the same weight, but the value of that information in the future is going to be extremely high. So you don't want to play. You don't want to play in that region. It's just like, like I experienced, or many people experienced during the last bull run, where people will say that they are doing airdrop for a particular platform, that you plug your wallet. You plug your wallet into it. That wallet asks for permission to connect to certain contracts. If you are not careful and are not vigilant, they might connect to those contracts behind your back and authenticate, and they can do and undo essentially. So they can use that means. They can give you tokens saying, okay, this is your airdrop token that you got. And that's, if you followed me in 2020, I would always say that have a separate wallet for airdrops that is separate from where all your cryptos are sitting. Because an airdrop might be a phishing attack, in which case it gives a tracker on your wallet. Anytime there is a movement on your wallet, they might be able to track it. And then, there have been very, very grievous cases that happened during this bear market of people losing everything in their wallets. And you can almost always tie it to strange smart contracts or airdrops that they might have signed up to get some free tokens or some freebies. So what I'm saying is there's a need to be very cautious. It's still that advice still applies now. We're like 9 months thereabouts to the onset of the halving, so that applies. That advice still applies because you will already start getting forwarded forwarded invites to apply for free tokens or get airdrop and all that. What I'm saying, I'm not saying it's bad. Not all of them are bad, obviously. But what I'm saying is be careful that whatever wallet you are using to interact with airdrop is completely isolated from every other thing you are doing. And that the email, if they ask for email that you are using as well, completely isolated. That's the smartest thing to do. And if you don't do that, you have automatically exposed yourself. So in the same vein, it's not a financial advice, but it's a data protection advice that please do not scan your iris for anything. It's not worth it. It's almost like asking you to prostitute I don't want to use bad comparison, but I find it very, very disturbing that to prove your identity, to give you a token, they want to scan your iris. I don't want to go into conspiracy theories about things happening in the future, but understand that data is money, and whatever data you are providing in this digital age is equity. So be careful how you use it. Be very, very careful how you provide data online. Again, I'm not saying, don't take freebies, or don't do airdrop, or don't sign up for stuff that people send to you. What I'm saying, if you're signing up for stuff, have a separate wallet created and dedicated for that purpose. So if that wallet gets breached, nothing touches your other wallet where you actually have your real assets. So are they going to perform as a company? Of course, ChatGPT is already a chatbuster. It's already doing very well. So they're leveraging on ChatGPT to launch a crypto project with an ambitious promise, of course. But the ambitious promise will make it pump, which is why I said performance-wise, I'll be looking for this to come down to like 2. Once it comes down to like 2 again, because when Bitcoin drops, this is going to drop as well. So once it comes below 2, this will provide a good opportunity for some entry. Will it do 10x? Easily, very easily. We'll do 10x because they will want to tie the issuance of the coins to people scanning their retina. So if people do not scan enough retina, they won't have enough tokens, or logically, they won't release enough tokens in circulation. However, like I said, because there are so many people that are interested in this data, this coin is likely to pump, and pump very hard when the bull run is in full force. So it is one to keep on your watch list. And like I said, you can buy the token, but understand that you shouldn't be giving your retina scan for any token. So yes, I think it's gonna do well. It's sitting on Ethereum using Optimism, so I think it's gonna do well. I think it's gonna make a lot of noise because they already have a lot of attention because of that ChatGPT. So I think it's gonna do well on the long run, and if it does well, because it's tagged here to Optimism ecosystem. So if it does well, yeah, so it's on Optimism. So if it does well, it's a major boost for Optimism. I don't know if I've told you about Optimism ecosystem before, but I think I have. Somebody said they want to be on my live video. Oh, talk about, I'll call you later. Sorry. So really, what I'm saying is that WorldCoin as a token itself will perform very well. So it's important that we keep in mind and keep on the watch. So I thought I was sharing the screen on WorldCoin. So it's important that we keep in focus tokens like this, because tokens like this are going to dominate the next bull run in 2024 and early 2025. Guaranteed. It's not a prophecy. It's just, it is what it is. It's definitely going to dominate because of AI. And what makes me squirm on the inside as well is because these guys that are taking this data are also the guys that have ChatGPT. Who knows what they want to cook up with AI and all that stuff. So I'm not touching it. From a data sharing perspective, definitely not touching it. But from an investment perspective, fantastic opportunity. No doubt about it. This is a guaranteed 10x. You can quote me anywhere. Except the company dies in the next 16 months or something, bad happens to the founder. This is a guaranteed 10x. Guarantee. I mean, it might probably do crazily more than that, but guaranteed 10x from current price. Very much guaranteed. I don't have any doubts about it in terms of whether it's going to perform or not. Definitely going to perform because ChatGPT is very popular. So definitely going to perform. There'll definitely be a lot of noise, and as I said earlier, there will also be a lot of clamor for people to sign up to AI platforms generally. Hold on a second, Okay, please give me a second. I think this thing is not sharing properly. Okay. Yeah, it was sharing my trading view chart. I wanted to share the coin market cap. I mean the coin gecko tokenomics for this. So right now, in terms of tokenomics, it's just 34. So it's gone as high as $3 30. So I still expect another, another all-time low or something close to the all-time low, which is $1.66, which is interestingly around the pound. At that point, it will be the max. I mean, it will be the most optimal entry for WLD. Again, something to watch out. This one is actually one to watch out for, because it's a double leveraged project. It's already known. The company is already known for AI, and now they want to do crypto and AI. They will come up with all sorts of things. Don't worry about that. Just understand that the basic tokenomics is that one, the company is already popular. Two, they are doing something that I don't want to say is on the verge of nefarious. Do interest a lot of parties. I'm very sure about that. This will interest a lot of parties. The giants that are looking for, data on a large scale. So definitely, this is gonna generate a lot of interest. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to get out of the way, because in case people come to you and say they should take your retina scan, just understand that you don't want to be in that situation. Not in this day and age. You do not want to be in that situation where you've scanned your retina and it's been tied to you. It's one thing to scan your retina and it's not your name, but you scan your retina and it's your name. They tied all the stuff to you. It's a dangerous zone to be. So I think I've cleared the air on that one. I'll take questions. So Tokwe, if you want to send a request, I'll take your question to join Instagram live. The second thing I wanted
No.
to talk about
Oh,
is,
okay.
sorry, Bam Bam. I'll take questions. Just give me a second.
Oh,
Or
okay.
give me like 10 minutes. I want to run through the chart and the price. So in terms of what the price is looking like I said, I still think Bitcoin needs to come down, and definitely it's going to come down to 29. But on the longer term, like I said, because it suddenly went up between June 15, 16 to 23, uh, I expect downward correction in the same manner, because like I said, when the price goes up suddenly like that, is market inefficiency, meaning that there were no sellers, or there were little sellers and there were a lot of buyers, so there was a skew, and that's why you see the price go up suddenly. So now that the price has plateaued between 32 and 30k, is now beginning to drop to 29. And like I said, it might stay here, like the like somebody said on Wednesday. I think it was the founder of Binance. He said Bitcoin is more stable than stablecoin, because the price wasn't going anywhere for almost like how many days is that? The price has not really moved since for almost a month. Has not really moved much compared to normal Bitcoin price movement. So it's just done 29k to 31 and back. No flash in the pan, no fireworks. So when you have this kind of thing, I hope I can get my Bollinger Japan. When you have this kind of let me hope I can change this one. Yeah, I might not do well. I'll just, it did go. Okay, to change. Let me change to Bitfinex and see if I can get the clearer charts. I hope so. When you have this kind of scenario in which the price is beginning to sit in a tight range, you call it low volatility, meaning the price is not moving too much. Yeah, it's messed up the chart. I don't know what's wrong with What's wrong with TradingView and Zoom, or maybe it's my internet. But I don't know what the problem is. I wanted to apply Bollinger Band, so let me just apply it. So let me go to daily charts. Go back to daily chart. So I don't want to take this out. I have to take it out now. Okay, so when you have price not moving so much in terms of, for lack of a better word, amplitude up and down, you have what you call decreased volatility. When you have decreased volatility, it's usually an indication that the price wants to break out in a particular direction. So what we've been having for the last 1 month is that decreased volatility. And even the reason I put on this indicator is it usually shows you whether there is volatility or not. So now this tightening band shows actually that yes, there is decreased volatility. But what it also shows is that price has crossed to the downside. And I didn't even apply this last week before coming to that conclusion that price has come to the downside. That the price has come crossed to the downside. So definitely, uh, the price of Bitcoin is due for overripe now for a serious correction. How low the correction will be depending on market forces. But if you are following the markets this week, you notice that the Fed, the U.S. Federal, what's it called, the Federal Reserve guys, they've hiked the interest rate as well. So uh, that means Bitcoin cannot be strong as long as interest rate is high. Let me just use that word. And this CME is the is the mini S&P 500, which also shows that price has taken a correction. And if it ends like this, yeah, or probably lower than this, it's as good as there's a correction on S&P 500 as well. S&P 500 for the most part, yeah, S&P 500 for the most part provides a leading indicator to the price of Bitcoin. In the same way with the US dollar index, which is the DXY. I don't know which one chart is DXY. This one. Yeah, this is DXY. DXY on the daily. So the interest rate hike means that the dollar is still strong, and it means that even though the bond market, unfortunately, I can't open the chart for the bond market. It might just clog my connection. But what it means is that the bond market is still strong. So institutional investors with very big money are still holding on to their bond market positions. Some of those bond market positions, some of them are 5 years, some of them are 1 year, uh, some of them are 3 years. Um, the fact that rate hike is still going on means that they are good, because what it means in essence is that on this, so if they've taken positions at the beginning of the year and the rate is I can't remember what the rate is now, but what it means is that they've already made money already. This from beginning of the year to now, they already are in profit without any quote and unquote, without any risk, as it were, because interest rate has been applied consistently every quarter for the last almost 5 quarters. So that means that the US dollar is very strong. As long as the US dollar is very strong, oh, my charts are frozen. As long as the US dollar is very strong, the stock market, which is S&P 500, cannot be strong, because what it means is that it's safer to put the money in US bonds than to put it in the stock market. So the stock market will not move. Like I said, once the Fed stops application of rate hike, because what they've done now is they've applied another hike and they've said, there is room for more. Even though the economy is not, the economy is not doing badly in the US, but what they're saying is the inflation is still too high. And like I said, it's just an aftermath of what they did during COVID. So if they don't feel comfortable enough with the inflation, they will keep hiking the rates and keep pushing the price down. But one thing I'm sure of is either this quarter, this coming quarter, or the one next after it, they will have to stop at some point. Immediately they stop, you see the stock market go crazy, and that is when the bull run will be in full swing. Most likely will be in full swing, because we have essentially 2 quarters between now and halving. So within the next 2 quarters, if they don't even if they don't even hike, if they as much as just stop and say we're holding on, automatically people will begin to reevaluate their position and be like, oh, it looks like the Fed wants to start, quantitative easing, like we call it, again, and then all the money will start rushing into equities and then by extension into crypto. So what does that mean in simple English? What it means is that the price of Bitcoin is still coming down. It's not even close to where it wants to be yet. Like I said yesterday, I'm sorry, not yesterday. Like I said last week, the downside target is 26k. If it holds well for 26k, then it might be that we might still be able to go higher before the end of the year. But bear in mind, I don't know if many people are aware of this. During the summer months when people are on holidays, the markets are usually not, the markets don't move significantly. So I'm not surprised, for instance, that the price of Bitcoin is not really doing much because one, it's bear market. Two, it's summer, so institutional traders will take vacation and just go. So if you are watching the forex market, you just see the market just goes like almost flat. Nobody is trading. So that I think might be in play till September, and actually might cause a drop in August at this rate. There might be August might just be drop, 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 and once the market is tired, it will pick itself up from the shambles in September, and traders will start pumping the market again up till the end of the year. So from a macro point of view, it's downside for now for the price of Bitcoin. But what I would then be looking for is when it seems to have bottomed out. Currently, we might be able to bottom out at 27,000. But if it doesn't bottom out at 27,000, like I said the other day, 24,000 is actually very good support based on the current market structure. 24, 25,000 is very good support based on the current market structure. So I think I'll stop there. I think there are people that have a lot of questions. So let's take the questions. Let me see if I can take this Instagram request. I've never really tried it on before, so I don't know if it's gonna work. Yeah, I'm not sure it's working. Not. So Topper, I don't know what's going on. It's I'm seeing the request, and once I click it, it's not showing up. Okay, Bam Bam, let's have it. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, I wanted to find out. Okay, when you were talking about the retina thing, if I can recall, Dubai started scanning retinas as of 2019. When you go into the country, that's when they started scanning. They scan your retina along with your finger, Dubai.
Oh, okay.
Along with your fingerprint, along with your fingerprints. That's one. Okay, I heard there's going to be a meeting, August 22nd, BRICS meeting. How do you think it's going to affect crypto and everything else? And then this, I don't know if you know this guy on Twitter. It's Roger Green. Okay, I think the U.S. Financial Services Committee, they passed the bill protecting the right to self-custody of crypto. Can you say something about that?
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it today.
I saw it.
Thank you.
I've not looked through the bill, but I saw it. The reason I've not brought it up is because I've not really looked through the bill. So
okay,
there are two parties in US government, and they are almost diametrically opposed, with equal political. Let me not say equal political might, but yeah, fairly equal political might. So they are the ones that believe, crypto is the way to go, will boost the economy for the United States, help the United States to take the lead in digital economy and all that. There are those that believe that it's a threat to the current order of things and will put things more out of control. Now, of that subset of those that believe that it's a threat to the existing order, there is some of them that are trying to be proactive by corrupting the move. Well, not let me not say corrupting the move, by front running the move. And front running the move, I mean, there are people like BlackRock and all the guys in their league. They know what's up. They know that Bitcoin is real money, meaning you can't tamper with the value, regardless of what the US dollar value is. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. And they can see how that's going to pan out in terms of democratization of capital, like I always talk about. And somebody called it economic democracy. In a study I was watching this week, and the guy was literally highlighting how the US was invading countries in the name of stabilizing democracy, and he proved it with facts that it wasn't because of democracy. And his thesis was that it was because of economic democracy, meaning that even in democratic setting, they destabilized existing democracies because the rulers or the people in charge of power were trying to democratize the economy, even within a democracy. So his point was like, it wasn't anything that had to do with democracy. So for the US, I think there are two spheres. Those that believe, like, what, we need to democratize capital, and those that believe, like, no, we're not going to have it. So when the Congress is passing stuff, because it's the Democrats that are in there right now, I don't think they're too crypto favorable. They're passing bills to be able to empower them to have control in that area. I'm sorry for guys in the US, and I know a lot of my friends and fans are in the US, but the US is a closed economic system. It's almost like an economic prison, and I'm sorry to use that word, but that's the way the system is built. But it's a 5-star economic prison, meaning if you know your onions, you do well and enjoy life. But it's within the confines of what has been provided within that framework. If you try to jump that framework, then you're going to get in trouble with the powers that be. So crypto and Bitcoin provides a gap in that system because they don't have control over it. They have control over the US dollar, and the US dollar is dominating the world. So they can control everything. So for instance, they can say we are sanctioning you. Why do they say they are sanctioning you? Because they know that for you to carry out international trade, you need to use the US dollar. However, it looks like that reign is coming over. It's coming to an end now because of the BRICS situation. Yes, there is BRICS. Yes, people are fed up. And yes, there is a lot of awakening. It's not just even within BRICS. It's all, even in Africa. For instance, I don't know whether you heard about it. There was a coup d'etat in Mali. And the guys there, they changed their national language from French to local. They changed the currency, detached themselves completely from France. And I can understand their pains, for instance, because all Francophone countries are run by the Central Bank of France. All in Africa. So it's a war on the democracy of economics, or the democracy of capital, or the democratization of capital, like I like to call it. And it's a protracted war. It will have many casualties. It will go in various dimensions. But that is actually what is going on. It is that war on the democratization of capital that's going on right now. And that's why you're seeing all this tension. So US is between a rock and a hard place, because on the one hand, you have miners, you have mining companies that are mining Bitcoin, major mining companies that are mining Bitcoin in the US. They increase tax on them. Those ones already have infrastructures that they will have planned for the next 10 to 15 years on. If it becomes too unfavorable, of course they will have to make other moves and ship out their infrastructure. So it's in the short term going to be turbulent for the dollar, but US has a lot of economic and intellectual power. I mean, you have to agree to that. And because of that, that fight is going to be drawn out and vicious. Two things that I foresee is that if the economy seems to stabilize in the next 2 quarters, the US will stop rate hiking, like I said. So that's one scenario. If they stop the rate hiking, then automatically equity starts to pump. However, somebody pointed my attention to something 2 weeks ago, and it was about the budget of the US for next year. Guys in the US, you can check it out. The budget has a ballooned figure, almost a 10x figure on defense from year to year. So year to year, defense budget is usually like 10% increase. But there seems to be like a 10x onto this year's value versus the proposed one for next year. That can only mean two things: full scale war with Russia or war with China. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just telling you how it works. If you go back all the way to World Trade Center, you find the same similarity. That the year before that, there had been, significant provision in the budget for defense. So these things are not happening now. It's not like, there's 9/11 bombing and then we are looking for terrorists. No, these are properly staged economic moves. So based on that fact that defense spending for the US is huge next year, I foresee that yes, there will be some major. I don't know what it is, and I can't claim to know, but there will be some major, theatrics in the area of defense in the United States. So where BRICS might be saying yes, we want to stand on our own, it's going to take time. One, to work out the logistics of the currency. Two, to come to an agreement. How are we going to share it? So who is going to have is one is going to be a digital currency. If at all BRICS ever comes to a landing on some sort of currency, one is going to be a digital currency. Two, there has to be an extensive agreement on how much everybody is going to have. So think about it this way. I always have this scenario in my mind that what if ECOWAS, let's not say Africa, what if ECOWAS decide that we want to use a token or want to use a coin to manage international trade within ourselves? My question will be that how do we evaluate that token to start with? How do we evaluate who is going to have what percentage of the total supply? That needs to go into a lot of discussion, a lot of deliberation. They might say, okay, we're going to tie it to how much you have in terms of US dollar cash, or we're going to tie it to how much your foreign reserve are. It can be based on many things, but it takes time. And the more the countries, the more the complexity. So while BRICS is, it's a solid idea. I mean, it's a threat to the dominance of the dollar, but that threat is not going to materialize anytime soon. And I'm not, I'm not holding brief for the US dollar in the United States. It's just the fact as it's on ground right now. How that will affect the price of crypto is just dependent on the money flow between the bond market, which is the US dollar, and the equities market, which is risk capital. So as long as the rate hike is going up, the US dollar is going to pump. If BRICS looks like it might be a threat in the near term to the US dollar, then you can be sure that there will be a greater war that will happen somewhere next year. But if it looks like they're still not getting the acts together, then things will still coast around. But yes, I'm aware that there's a lot of agitation. There's a lot of agitation within the African continent. There's a lot of agitation between the BRICS countries. People are gradually thinking, you know what, they can screw up Putin at the beginning of last year, like they did with all those sanctions. Then nobody is spared, and everybody's asking themselves, so why should we use the US dollar? Especially because most of the countries now, most of the Western countries have already finished their CBDC pilots. I talked about this CBDC pilots in 2020, May, June. That was when I started talking about it. So the central bank digital currency pilots are almost done for all Western countries. So what that means is they've tried it out, they worked out the modalities within themselves. So if there's going to be any BRICS currency, automatically it's going to be, a digital currency. Secondly, if you remember the World Economic Forum advisor I was talking about 3 or 4 weeks ago, when they said, central bank digital currency needs to be implemented under the scheme. and that they were saying, they need to implement central bank digital currency under people's skin. And I was talking about people already using uh, hand, their fingerprints, all their hand, their palm to pay in China. So a BRICS currency is definitely going to be a CBDC, and it will initially be turbulent for crypto because it can go both ways. Some countries might seek to outlaw crypto and say crypto is now illegal. You must use our own central bank digital currency. In which case, things like Monero, Bitcoin will pump because they're quite independent of the mix. So it's quite important to understand how these things plays out, and just stuck on the side. I think 2024 to 2030 will be very dramatic across board because there are too many moving parts. There are so many things that are happening all around, and if you try to think about it all the time, it can get you crazy because when you're thinking about what they're trying to do with climate change, what they're trying to do with central bank currencies, what's going on with the BRICS, how the East, let me use the word the East now, is trying to position and make itself immune to any theatrics from the West. I think it's going to be very turbulent. So it's a two-way thing, Bam Bam. It can go anyway, but I don't think BRICS currency is going to be, except they're going the way of digital currency, which is most likely, and that will take some time because even if you say we're going to allocate the token based on your foreign reserve, who is going to be the node? Who is going to be the primary node? Who are going to be the node contributors on the blockchain? Who are going to be the validators? There are so many technical questions that need to be answered, and I don't think that meeting in August will be enough to answer those questions. I hope I've answered your question, but that's my perspective on BRICS and the regulation from US.
Okay, sorry. I just want to add one or two things. So I think sometime during the week, I think Biden said some things about what. One thing I've noticed in the US is that most of the time when maybe their news flashes are out, they tend to distract those news flashes with other things. For example, I remember that time that BRICS issue came out newly. A lot of people were not paying attention. That time was when they came up with that Trump issue, and that was all they were talking about in the news.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in the US don't seem to really, really know what is going on because when a major thing is going on, they look for something else, some form of news to distract people. So you find out that people that live outside the US tend to even have more information than the people that are actually living there. I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just saying they always look for a way to look for something that is not important, just to distract the people there. And then the CBDC issue, they've been talking about it for a while. I remember that time of Nixon, the Nixon case that time. They just woke up and that was just it. I just feel the American people are just going to wake up someday and then they just find out that their currency has been changed to digital and they don't really know what's going on.
Yeah,
I think that's about what. That is what they usually do because there's so much information out there and it's so scary that, like you said, so many things are going on, so many information. If you have to process them, sometimes it's just too much. But you just have to know that these things are going to happen. But when it's just what we don't know, and people should just take position. I think that's just it.
Yeah,
I think the best thing is just to withdraw your dollar from the American bank, which is that's what I'm planning to do. Withdraw my money away because you wake up and you just found out all your money has been changed to digital currency, and Naira is already, because now as of today, I think dollar is 871. Yesterday it was 8 USDT is 867, 868. Today USDT is 871. So you can imagine you waking up and your money you have in Bank of America is now a digital currency, and dollar in Nigeria is 1,009. What do? So that's what I'm saying, that people if you are going to be in this space, I always say, I hate Twitter. I hated Twitter before. But if you're going to be in this crypto space, Twitter has to be your friend. There's no way you can survive it, really. You just have to be on that because a lot of information tweet a lot of things that you won't even know, I get notifications and I have to read up these things. Because so many things are going on that we just have to consume the information because, like you said, like this WorldCoin thing you talked about today. Now, a lot of people don't even know that it exists. A lot of people don't even know there's anything like that, So, I mean, people just wake up and you find that a lot of things have, and the way we are looking at it, after this bull run, a lot of people might not even be able to touch crypto anymore because like the kind of money that's going to come into the space, it's going to be so much and the wealth transfer, the way I'm looking at it.
Well, there's a potential for a major spike, which I talked about last week, and that was because I did talk about BlackRock. BlackRock is the owner of everything, and nobody knows the owner of BlackRock. And in every major US company, if you take out the billionaires like Bill Gates and what's that number, the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, if you take out those guys and other big guys that are big time institutional investors as billionaires, BlackRock owns majority shares in most, from Apple to Tesla to everything. They own majority shares. And what I was saying 2 weeks ago about BlackRock filing for a Bitcoin ETF is because they want to own Bitcoin. That's essentially what it is. Because they've tried all sorts. They've tried to fork the original network. They forked it, but it still went on going strong. They've tried to use backend to kill it. They banned it many times in China, but they found out that it's still not going up. And as long as it remains, it is an escape hatch to get out of the economic circuit has been created for the current world system. So if BlackRock succeeds, which I very much think is a possibility, I mean, SEC has been going on and on about rejecting application for Bitcoin spot ETFs. But once they succeed on that ETF, that's the end. Nobody can buy Bitcoin again at normal price. People will be buying sats, meaning you can only buy fractions because what it then means is that they have a free flow of a runway to push capital into Bitcoin, and then it becomes unaffordable for the common man. But what I would say is that one, I think we need to be very circumspect. Like I said earlier on, WorldCoin scanning people's iris for token, I think it borders on privacy violations, and because the value of that data is going to increase exponentially as the year goes on and as the volume increases, it's not a safe thing to do. Just to repeat myself, if you're in the Western world, don't touch it. If you touch it, you have risked your digital identity. Let me use that word. You have risked your digital identity because anybody that can breach that database or even sniff it can steal your digital identity, because there is nothing as unique. Your retina scan and the topography of your retina is more unique than your fingerprint, as it were. So if like I said, you can peel off your fingerprint and you get a different variant of your fingerprint, but you can't peel out your retina. So it's a very sensitive, for me, both from a technological and a medical point, it's a very sensitive thing. That it just something turns inside of me when I read about asking people to submit their retina scans to collect WorldCoin. So people need to be very aware that definitely we're going to move CBDC. What also suggests and supports that CBDC thesis is that the US banking system before now has literally and deliberately dragged itself farther back in the technological roadmap from the rest of the world. What do I mean? If you want to move money from Texas to New York, it could take you the whole week, or it could take you 3 days to transfer money from the same branch, the same, let's say Bank of America or Chase to Chase, or Bank of America to Bank of America, New York to Texas, or Texas to New York. it could take you 3 days to clear, because they deliberately kept that clearing system that way to control and monitor how money flows. They started talking about Fed now last year, and they launched it this month. I don't know, people didn't know about it so much as well, but they've launched it this month. So what that means is US is now, for the most part, and for many of their banks, at par with or close to par with Nigeria and Europe and the rest of the world in terms of what we call faster payment in Europe or electronic banking in Nigeria. So you can get money immediately if you transfer to another person digitally. So what Fed now is going to do is they're going to make sure that they incorporate all the banks. Once they incorporate all the banks, they've created a platform to essentially move to central bank digital currencies. So as I always say, plan your portfolio, sit 50% in Bitcoin. And I say that because Bitcoin is the real true money in this whole mix. All the other ones are just tokens and investments that are waiting on Bitcoin cycle to pump and to make money. So always make sure that you are well weighted in Bitcoin. If you are in for just making money on the short term, yes, you can go into altcoins and all the other cryptos, but understand that Bitcoin is solid money. And in terms of long term, if you are to, how do I put it now? If you are to be saving for or putting money aside for, let's say, life insurance, as people do, as we do here in the UK, Bitcoin can be one of the best life insurance policies you have, because that value is going to continue to grow as long as you have people like US and China, or US. They're using the US dollar and they keep printing money. Central bank system is continuous printing of money to generate value from debt. So as long as that system is in place, the value of Bitcoin will keep going up for as many years as, except something happens that's cut. Okay, again, I always, maybe it's too overthinking stuff, but I always think that what could happen that could break this progression of the price of Bitcoin. One thing that could happen is you have supercomputers. So supercomputers are quantum computers, like the one Google has that was able to solve that mathematical problem of many decades. Supercomputers are quantum computers that are able to do much more than normal computers. They are extremely fast, extremely intelligent, and extremely capable. Now, if that happens and they start deploying supercomputers as mining rigs or as nodes, what it will mean is, technically, it might be easier, but it means the halving, for instance, will happen faster. It also means that difficulty will go higher, and it will be more difficult for ordinary people to use, their mining rigs, or even companies to use traditional mining rigs. So that's the only scenario in which I think they can make an incursion into the geometric progression of the price of Bitcoin. The only other scenario is BlackRock, in which case they buy it either to dump the price or they buy it to pump the price. I've run out of time, but as I said, I'm not sure we'll be able to do this every week from August. We'll probably do it once in a month. Well, I'll take questions and have lives, but I will be posting shorts almost every week. I'll try to do it every week on the various things that I've talked about in all our videos. So if you want to watch the videos, you can watch the videos. Some are on Instagram, Dr. Demi Crypto. Most of them are on YouTube at CryptoPulse Weekly channel. So if you go to CryptoPulse Weekly with Dr. Demi channel on YouTube, you see all the videos there, with some of the very early videos as well from 2020 or 2021. So that's it for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Hope you do have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you again next month.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.